that's going to be a challenge today. Well, from past experience, I know that if anybody is going to join me on the live stream, it's going to be a little delayed. So I'll get started and see if anybody checks in. And if they don't, that's great. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to practice with StreamYard. I think I shared with you in my post that I was hoping to do a live this morning, that I was going to try to stream it in multiple locations. And I'm doing that, I think. It should be going to my personal Facebook, my Holstein House Facebook, and to my YouTube. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to live stream the Substack. It wanted me to upload a video, so I'll have to upload this later. Let's see. Which one do I want to watch? I should be able, if people watch it, I should be able to see comments. Some destinations won't get comments. Oh, my Facebook group probably won't get. Well, try it anyway. Read and post for YouTube, read and post for Twitch. I don't use Twitch. Read and post for Facebook pages. So, well, yeah, you should be able to see it on Holstein House. Read and post to groups. There's a yellow mark on. Oh no, you can't read. Oh, I don't have any groups anyway. My profile. I have to check that. LinkedIn, I'm not streaming to hop in. Twitter, I'm not. Let me see what happens when I select this here. Make your streams public to see comment. When streaming to your profile, Facebook sets the privacy to friends only by default, even though StreamYard asks to make it public. If you want viewers' comments to show up on StreamYard, you'll need to make your streams public on the Facebook. Follow these steps. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I don't know if I have to do it through this or not. Or follow these steps. Bear with me. I'm sorry, guys. Just, I have to learn to use this stuff. Hopefully it didn't kick us off. Go to your apps and website page on Facebook and click view and edit for StreamYard. If you don't see StreamYard, it may be under business integrations tab. So I don't know if I can do that from my phone to my account. Maybe not. Hey, good morning, Brianna. I see your comment. I want to see if I can get in there and set this to public on my page, personal profile. Oh, here it is on my phone. So let's see if I can set this to. Nope, that's the wrong one. Here I am. Edit privacy. It says public, so anyways, there we go. I will. Yeah. So, welcome to the first day of autumn 2022. Dramatic pause. So, it's kind of rainy and damp outside. I was going to do this on the front porch. I don't have the right kind of stands. I keep getting the wrong kind of stand. This, I'm using a tablet to stream because I can see it better than the screen on my phone. And then I have a Bluetooth keyboard that I can comment back and forth with and post stuff. But it's too damp and rainy and chilly. The temperature's dropping, so I'm not a fan of the cold. So I just sit here again in the breakfast room. I've done several videos from here before. It's okay, but I still have to prop the tablet up so that you're not looking at my nose. It's the year 2022. We've had computers for a quick minute now. So can we stop setting our phones so that and cameras so that you're looking at people's nose, and our laptops so that you're looking down and into? Can we just prop them up on some books? Surely people have books out there that you're not reading. Or use your Kindle. Yeah. But anyway, it says there's 2 people watching. And I think it says there's 2 people watching. Brianna, are you still there? No, it says 1 person's watching. I wonder if it kicked me out. I'm going to do that. If you are on YouTube, welcome. Say hello or something so I know where you're peeking in from. And if you're peeking in from my personal page, tell me that too. If you're peeking in from my page for Holstein House, tell me that too. I'd love to know where everybody's streaming from. I don't pretend that this is going to be an earth-shattering production today. I don't have a big, multi-person production unit, giant lights, and I don't know what to call it, and big microphone. And I do have a nice USB microphone that I bought many years ago to do podcasts with, and I don't use it very often, but I can't plug it into this tablet. I could go to my office, but I have to go out and come back in, and I'll just lazy for that. But I thought, I just kind of touched base a little bit today. We had a long-term guest leave today. She is from North Carolina. She is a travel nurse. And some of you will know from other things that I've posted out and about that she was staying in a basement room. I don't know if I'd call it an apartment. It might have been an apartment in Charleston on the East End. She was working at the General Hospital, Charleston General Hospital. And back in August, we had an overnight just drenching. It was, I think they got about 4 inches of rain in just a few hours after midnight before sunup in Charleston. And we got probably as much, but the official measurements were in Charleston. So she's in this basement, and she knew that there was some water coming in. Well, it turned out that the city sewers were backing up, and the drain in the basement was backing up, and the carpet under the bed where she was sleeping was getting wet with this stuff. So she reached out to me. She got my email address. She reached out to me and asked me if I would take her. And it happened that just that morning I had a guest leaving, and the guest was just wearing me out with last minute things and not running in time because checkout is officially 9 o'clock for here. And so this guest was just lollygagging, dragging her feet and stuff. So anyway, it's in between that guest trying to leave and emailing back and forth with, I'm trying to turn off, there's this thing shows the closed captions. I can't stand that. Anyway, she reached out to me and explained to me what was going on, and we got it worked out. Her last question, the travel nurse, her last question was, do you have a washer that I can use? And I had to say no, because I didn't. The washer in our basement is in our basement. We don't let guests use it. I don't let people in the basement. My basement is dangerous. And so I asked her, I said, what kind of laundry do you have? And she said, she just need to wash her scrubs and her under things, And I said, well, if you're all right with it, I can get one of those little portable washers. And she said, well, I've never used one. I said, well, it's been years since I used them. The ones that I used 20 or 30 years. Wayne and I've been married 21. So it's been, gosh, almost 40 years ago. Were really kind of stiff metal, heavy things that you rolled around and hooked up to the sink. The ones they got out there now are plastic. They're really lightweight. They don't hold, they hold a lot in volume, but they don't hold a lot in weight, and especially after it gets wet. So I agreed to get one, and I did, and she used it. And I agreed to get one. She agreed to stay, and she stayed with us a couple weeks. Had a vacation. I had a guest come in that weekend. She was here for another week, and I already had a guest that had put in a reservation for this past weekend. And so she shuffled her schedule around so that she would be off those days. And she stayed with a friend or something, and came back on Thursday last week. And she left today. But she's been a great guest. No trouble at all. She leaves in the morning, comes back in the evenings, works a 12-hour day, did her laundry about every third or fifth day, something like that. And was really easy to get along with. Great guest. She left this morning, and she's running just a tad behind, so I wasn't sure that I'd get this video up and running. But she was a really good guest. We've been fortunate. Most of our guests have been really good guests. The ones that we had last Saturday and Sunday. Well, they came in on Friday night, but Saturday and Sunday was a lady who drug her mother, her poor mother. Her mother wasn't very tall, but she was as round as she was tall. And she had a lot of difficulties getting up and down my stairs. But the stairs are very well mentioned in the description of the room and the house, especially on Airbnb and on the website. And I talk about there's an upstairs bedroom, the bathroom is shared, and it's downstairs. And I make all this stuff out public, and it's not the house is not handicap accessible in that there's no ramps, there's no elevators. So the girl would have had to have seen it if she would read. And this is a pet peeve of mine, and some of you have heard me say this before. People don't read. People don't read. So they were from Las Vegas, actual Las Vegas, suburb, not, obviously down in the hotel, the casino district, but, the desert. And she, in her message to me when she booked the room, she says, I can't wait to see the Green Mountains. I had no idea what they were traveling for, but it turns out this young lady, she was 32, I believe, came out here, flew from Las Vegas and I don't know where, and lands in Pittsburgh, rents a car in Pittsburgh, drives down here, which is like, 5 hours from Pittsburgh, to turn around and drive an hour and a half Point Pleasant for the Mothman Festival. Now, Mothman is a great tourist attraction. But this young lady, I can't imagine she couldn't find something closer and more direct somewhere between Pittsburgh and Point Pleasant. I mean, they were good. I'm not complaining. It just didn't make a lot of sense. But they were emotionally challenging for me. They put a lot of stress on me, not because of anything they did. They didn't tear anything up. They didn't make weird requests or anything like that. But just questions about stuff that made no sense. But I guess she's not well traveled or something. I don't know. The young lady asked me if she needed to worry about coyotes at the Mothman Festival. I kind of chuckled and I said, no, there won't be any live coyotes at the Mothman Festival as far as I know. And she was fascinated with the fog. I guess they don't have fog there. I never thought about it. I have not been to Las Vegas. I have been to Phoenix, and I never thought about fog in Phoenix. Of course, it was not cold weather when I was there anyhow. But she was fascinated by that. She went out on the front porch and she's like, oh, look at the fog. And so the fog, when you out on my front porch, sometimes you can't see the upper third of the mountain. And on Saturday, when she was going to the Mothman Festival, that's exactly how it was. You saw part of the mountain and the rest of it was covered in fog. And they just asked a lot of questions about the area, and really it just was a lot. They just were a lot to deal with questions. And but they were fun overall. And they came back from the Mothman Festival exhausted, and they left the next morning. And it was on Sunday, and it was a good experience. I enjoy 99% of my guests. I really do. There's always the occasional booger in the batch, but they were good. They were strange about their coffee and tea. The mother didn't want the Keurig coffee, so I have a thermos. It's not a really great one, but it's one of those white ones about yay big that and it's plastic on the outside, and it might actually be mercury glass on the inside. I don't know, but it doesn't really hold heat that well. But I fixed her the hot coffee in that each day, and the girl was having fun drinking the different kind of teas that I have out, and using the Keurig and stuff. And I mean, they were fine. Really, they were fine, but they were just emotionally draining. Sometimes you get that. Sometimes you get that. So I've got a few days break. The husband's coming back. He's been working out of town. He comes back this afternoon, and glad to have him back and pray for his safe travels. So I have a little bit of time to myself today. I've blocked the room a little bit to give me so that we don't have any guests while he's here over the weekend. We can get some things done. And I enjoy being able to do that. It's really, I'm as busy as I want to be for the most part. I don't have a lot of long-term guests like the young lady that just left today, but I asked her, I said, if you enjoyed staying here, I hope you'll share it with other travel nurses, because it was a nice experience having you here. And, we'd love to host other nurses. It's just great. And she could have been lying. I don't know her that well, even though she did stay here, but she just didn't have the demeanor of somebody who was telling a little white lie. She said, I really did enjoy staying here. It was a good experience for me, and I have already told some people about you. And I said, well, thank you, and you're welcome back anytime. If you get an inkling that you're going to come this way, just get a hold of me, let me know, and I'll block the room off until you know for sure, so that you can come in. Because it wasn't her fault, and it wasn't my fault. It was just the nature of the beast. I had the 2 reservations before she reached out to me in the first place, and I'm not going to cancel them. So she understood that, and she was able to work around it. But I enjoy it. And honestly, if you've ever thought of hosting people from your home, you know, look into it. Look into it. Reach out to me if you want to. Ask me some questions if you want to. It's fun. It really is fun. And you can do it right. There are some headaches. Yes, there are some headaches, but there's headaches. But it's really fun meeting folks, and it's fun learning about other parts of the country and other countries in the world, and seeing things from other people's perspectives. So if you are, I have to be careful how I say this because I understand the algorithms have been tweaked. So if you are on the YouTube, looking in from the YouTube, that that button, you know, that says that you're enjoying this, if you wouldn't mind to tick that, please, and share it as well, and put some comments in. I'd love to see your comments there. My understanding with YouTube algorithm, and I don't know this for a fact, I just know this from the discussions of other people who had very successful YouTube channels, is that if you use the word for the button that does this, or you key it in as a tag or a keyword or a hashtag, the algorithms will frown on you. And I don't have a very strong following, and I really don't need that algorithm to do that to me. So if you, then please, and share. Share might even be a bad word too. Now that I think about it, but maybe just the combination of the two. I don't know. But anyway, this is actually Thrifty Thursday. Hashtag Thrifty Thursday. Can I put another banner up there that says hashtag? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. Hashtag. Oops. I keep working this. Thrifty Thursday. I apologize, you guys. Now let's see what do I let me do. Scroll across the bottom. Add banner. Do I have two of them, or is it going to go behind it? Oh, it's not showing. And it took the other one off, didn't it? So I can't run two banners, apparently. Or two tickers. Wait a minute. What if I put that? Can I edit that? Edit. Don't scroll. Save. I do them both at the same time. Okay. Yeah, except it's huge. Wow. What happens if I do this? Edit. When I get to be a pro at this, I'll teach you how. If you want to know. Oh, rats. Backed out too much. So anyway, it's Thrifty Thursday. I don't remember if I had a post go out on Thrifty Thursday. Already. Well, it's still gigantic, isn't it? Oh well. But those are more tips than thrift. Just let me show you this. I found this in a thrift shop, actually. It is called Tea for One. And you can get them on eBay. You can actually get them on Amazon too. But I got this one at the thrift shop. It is a teapot and cup. And it's, you know, autumn themed. And I love it. I've got two, not exactly the same. I've got this one and I've got the bigger one. Hang on a second. This one. Now this one's pretty huge. And sometimes they come with a plate. I like them better when they come with a plate because you can set the cup on the plate or set the hot pot on the plate. But I got these two at the thrift shop and I just love them. And I know there's not a lot of people. Get the little knob on there to hold the lid on when you pour. There's not a lot of people that like to do this, but I can set it at the table for my guests. And even though the Keurig will make tea and make hot water, then they could make this. And I just think it's really cute. Set this back here. And these flowers. Now, you might think, oh, that's so sweet and expensive. Well, yes and no. How come roses don't have any scent anymore? They're just plain. There's no sweet rose scent. Anyway, I got these the other day. I try to keep fresh flowers on the table when I have guests. And I don't buy them full price. I never do. I will I go to Kroger's, I go to the floral department, and I beeline for the marked down flowers. Some of them aren't worth buying, but some of them still have a lot of life left in them. And all you need to do, buy them. These were half price. So this was a $7 bouquet, marked down from $14. Actually, that one came from Walmart. Usually Walmart has really sad looking flowers and I don't bother buying them. But I had to go over there the other day anyway to pick up a few things for the guests. I set out orange juice and milk and muffins and bagels and toast. And I had not made fresh bread. The one thing about making homemade bread is that it will mold very quickly in the right circumstances. And so I'm not eating a lot of bread right now. I'm not carnivore diet. Some of you know I posted a question about that the other day. I'm not carnivore diet, but I am trying to back off some of the carbohydrates a little bit. So I'm not eating a lot of bread right now. So that loaf was going bad, and it just was easier to run and buy a loaf, even though it has all the preservatives and stuff in it. I'll freeze that and in sandwich bags in portion sizes, and then as I have other guests, I'll bring it back and set it out. But Walmart had those, and they were really gorgeous. They still are, but the thrift part of it, especially if you're like me, I love fresh flowers. I just love fresh flowers. And sorry, I'm really dry today. The pollen count is the ragweed's off the charts. But you buy them that way. When you get them home, you cut off about 1.5 inches off the bottom. You take a half a packet. You know, they give you those packets of plant food. I've got a blue million of them. Take half a packet, mix it in just a little bit of warm water, swirl it around so that it dissolves, and then you put your flowers in. Or you put it in the vase, put your flowers in, and then spray the flowers with a little cool water to give them back the moisture. And then every couple of days you go back and you trim a little bit more off the ends, and you discard any flowers that have died. You change the water, and it's not a big process. And these flowers are already, I got these Saturday, and they were marked down on Saturday, and today's Thursday, so they're still in really pretty shape. And I have better luck with the flowers at Kroger, but Kroger doesn't always have them marked down, and well, Walmart doesn't always either. And in a case where they don't have any that are in good marked down that are still in good shape, I'll just buy a small thing of carnations or something just to have a couple of flowers at the table. I just like it. I think it's a nice little touch for the guests. I'm not big in fancy place anyway. So it's it just gives a happy feeling to the table, I think. And even the guests don't know. Like the guests that left today, the guest that's coming in a couple of weeks doesn't know what kind of flowers were at the table, whether there was a bunch of them, none, or just one. So I'm going to turn that ticker off, or this banner off. So it's just up to me, and I enjoy having the flowers at the table, and when there's nobody else here, I get to enjoy them too. So let's see. Oh, now one of the things that I'm going to be doing today, besides running the sweeper and cleaning up and changing the bed and the room and stuff, with my guests being gone, so that's done, and I don't have to worry about it over the weekend. I'm going to be changing the filter in my HVAC system, the air filter. This is something I try to do on the seasons, not at least 3 times a year. I like to change it from spring to summer, from summer to fall, and then from winter to spring. And it helps the HVAC stay in good working condition. It doesn't have to strain as much, but it also helps clear the air. Obviously, if you've cleaned your air filters, you're going to have cleaner air coming through the whole system. Now, I have vent filters as well. They're little thin strips of filter material. These are white, which is kind of annoying in some ways because you can see them, and not in others because you can see them. So when they're dirty, they can be changed. They also filter the air, but I don't have them in. They go under the floor vents, in the thing for the floor vents. I don't have them in there to filter the air because I have good HEPA filter on the whole system. I have them there to keep dust and junk out of the ductwork. Now, this is an old house, and the HVAC was put in here years ago, and the ductwork really is kind of in sad condition. It's already got stuff down there. I have taken the vents up. I have vacuumed them out, but they're still, the years of stuff where nobody had filters on there to keep stuff from falling in there. It's just, well, anyway, but I changed those out too. And you can buy those in the hardware section of your box stores, and the filter where you would get air filters and stuff, and your air conditioning and HVAC supplies. The floor filters can be cut and probably should be cut. The registers, there's none of them the same size in this house. They're all a different size. I think they were cut based on what somebody had on hand or maybe was given. So you just trim them with scissors, and they go. They're hard to feed between the blades of the vent, but once you get them in there, they stay in there till the change of season. So I do that at the change of seasons, and I'll be going through and vacuuming my ceiling fans with the extension, and I put the extension on the vacuum and the upholstery brush. Obviously, turn the fans off. You might need something to help hold the blades, keep the blades from turning on you as you do it. But I just put that up there and just suck the dust, and you'll be amazed at the amount of dust that those fans have collected since the last change of season. And let's see what else. Oh, as the harvest is winding down and canning season is kind of just about to be done, I'm going to swing by the farmers market here this afternoon as well and see what they've got out there. Um, I don't have hardly any apples put up, and there should be some apples there now, I think, and I'll see what else they've got. But because my garden just was, it didn't do well at all this year. As you're when you buy shelves to put your foods on, your home canned foods, or even your store bought cans and stuff, put your heaviest things. And this is a lot of times you think, oh, that's common sense, but actually there are people out there who are always leaving home for the first time and going and have never heard these things before. Put the heaviest things on the bottom shelf. Put your lightest things on the top shelf. Arrange your pantry or your shelves or whatever you have so that the heaviest things are at the bottom. This is to help keep, especially if your shelving systems aren't anchored to the wall. This is to keep them from tipping over from the weight. You have it's kind of like a good woman, all the weight in the bottom, and that way the center of gravity is lower, and the likelihood of that shelf tipping over. Well, I mean, you think, well, it's not going to tip over. It's got 4 solid legs. Yeah, okay, I get that. But if you're up, you're reaching for things, and this thing is off balance, it could very well tip over on you. And they do. And they do. That's why they make anchors for people to anchor these things to the walls. Or a child or a pet, trying to climb it can tip them over. And it's better if you have all the weight at the bottom of your shelves. And gosh, that's really about all I've got. I'm working on these live streams more. Obviously, I don't have everything worked out. I'd love to have somebody join me. Here a while back, I did have a guest sit in with me, and it works a little better with conversation, I think. Love to hear your thoughts. Put your comments out there. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. I know something I was going to share with you. I did a video, it's been a couple weeks ago, I think, a YouTube video on canning lids, because I had found these Country Classics canning lids at Tractor Supply, or as I often call it, the tractor store. And I canned some pintos, and a friend of the mother of the group that stayed here over the weekend said, "You canned your own pinto beans? Gosh, we've got those all over the place." I said, "Yeah, well, they're quick that way. They're already cooked. If we have power outage, and I just have to heat them up over the stove or something, I have to cook very long because they're cooked. It was easy to heat up." But anyway, and refried greens, there you go. I'd never used these before, and so I did a video on using these, and I think I have to update it. I think I did. I don't think I put the second half of it up. And compared these with Golden Harvest and ball lids. And one of the things that I found out, which was just amazing to me, Country Classic lids are 1/10 of an ounce. 1/10 or 100. 1/100 of an ounce lighter. All 12 of the lids, but I didn't have it in the box. I'd taken them out, not that would make a difference, but in case somebody questioned it, I'd taken the 12 lids out, put them on a digital food scale that I had, and weighed them all. And Golden Harvest and the ball lids were 0.26 ounces for 12. These were 0.25. I thought that was really weird. And I'll share with you now, although I do need to update that other video, I had mixed results with these. The initial batch that I did was just 4 jars. And that batch one of the jars siphoned pretty bad. And I blamed that on user error. I think it had too many beans in it. And it also had absorbed quite a bit of the water that was in it. So I decided that was just a bad batch. And I did some more. And I did quite a few jars, quart jars of Pintos. And I had like 4 of the Country Classics not sealed properly. So I don't think I'm going to be a gigantic fan of them. I think I'm not going to trust the Country Classic lids with my high dollar foods like meats and expensive veg. Pintos, I mean, I don't like the idea that they didn't seal, but when you figure how much Pintos are for a quart, it wasn't a quart, it was a quart finished, cooked. It's worth experimenting on those. Water, I would experiment on again. I do backfill a canner with water to balance it out so that it's got a full load, and then you got a jar of sterile water to use later. Yeah, you never want the lids to come off, but the fact of life is. And I think that was it for today. I really would. I asked this question of the Facebook community. Well, on my personal profile, do you know or have you tried the more extreme form of keto called the carnivore diet, where you almost are only eating meat with very little vegetables, and of those that are very low in carbohydrates? I was binge streaming quite a few YouTubes on a doctor that promotes that type of diet, and he made a lot of sense, but I don't know anyone that's tried it or actually keto for long term. Now I know people do. I get it. I know people do. But I don't know. I know people who tried it and lost weight, but they didn't stick with it very long. And so I'm looking into it. This doctor, his last name is Barry. He's got a book out, Lies My Doctor Told Me. And I have it on Kindle, and I started reading it. I haven't finished it yet. And he makes a lot of sense. He's a family practitioner, still in practice. He did emergency room work like so many doctors do as they're working through their profession and their career. And, his arguments, they were like Dr. Adkins probably would have been if he had lived longer. I mean, he talked about that keto is good. It does a lot of work for people, but you really need to get off of the carbohydrates because ancestrally, talking thousands of years ago, humans didn't eat that much grain and that much carbohydrate. And I'm struggling with it in my mind that whether this is just an extreme position or if this is legit, because I know that the Atkins diet, cutting out a lot of the unnecessary carbohydrates and cutting back the sweets and all that stuff, is a good diet or lifestyle beyond. And of course, Dr. Barry made the point that, the diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they really kind of don't want you to stop their diet plans and stop buying their books and their products. And so I was thinking about that, and I asked the question if anybody themselves had started or been on the carnivore diet or known somebody that has been successful long-term with it. I'd love to know as well if you do, because that's something I'm looking at. At the same time, this is me all over the board. I'm looking into microgreens. Of course, I know some of those are like, you can do the kales and the broccoli and things that are green and not white starchy foods. have any of you tried sprouting your own microgreens? I was looking on Amazon at some of the kits, microgreen sprouting kits, which I'm not going to buy. They're just dumb. I have plenty enough stuff to do that, but I was looking at options, and some of them, I'm going to use this vintage blue jar here to show you what I'm talking about. If I get the lid off. Some of them will take, and this would be a clear mason jar, not one of these vintage jars. And you buy there's a set of jars with a stand, which looks just like a tablet, a stand for a cell phone or a tablet, like you would use just a wire stand, with a piece of screen. It looks just like window screen that you would use. I wouldn't use that for my food, like I'm getting ready to describe here, but it's what it was, like a piece of window screen mesh with the ring. Not this, because this is one of those. I don't have one close enough behind me. Oh yeah, I do. Except this is for a wide mouth. It had a ring, and so the mesh went here, and the ring went around it to hold the mesh in. And what you do, you put your seeds in that you're going to sprout. You fill it up with your water. You put your little mesh screen on there. You put your ring on there, and you let the seeds soak for a little while, and then you tip it and you let it drain. And of course, with that screen in there, all that water drains out, and the screen holds the seeds in, and then you let them sprout that way. And every day or so, or a couple times a day, I don't remember now, I'll have to look at it in more detail. You put some fresh water in, you swirl it around, you dump it out. So fresh water in, swirl around, dump it out. Then after that, I think you just check on them, and it's not twice a day anymore after they sprout, but you mist them down or something, keep them tipped like this so that they don't sit in water. And in 10 days, you have sprouts, depending on the seed, but you have sprouts that are ready to eat. Well, that kit, okay, because it had 2 jars that resembled mason jars, and 2 rings, and 2 screens, and a stand to hold them like that. It's almost $40. And I'm thinking, I've got a basement of mason jars that they're not blue, but they're older vintage mason jars that would be perfect for that. I don't have to buy a stand. I just need to be able to set them up. I'm not going to use window screen because that is not food safe, but I have a dehydrator that has that I bought this mesh fabric to keep smaller things from falling through. I have a couple of strips of it where I had to cut them to fit, so I could probably use that. Or, cheesecloth, hello, or anything, linen, not fuzzy towels, but linen, like you would strain milk to make cheese, or strain yogurt to make cheese and cream cheese and stuff. Anything that would let the moisture drain out. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I just don't know what seeds to use yet. I don't know what seeds, and I've got to read some more to find out how long I have to do, whether they have to be in the dark. I've seen these, I've seen folks use the trays in the big frames, like 4 or 5 trays, and you get gigantic, like, things that look like plots of grass, wheatgrass or whatever. And they'd cut some off and it'd grow back. They have a grow light and all this stuff. But it was a big thing, and the guy had this like almost like an aquaponics. I mean, he just had water and stuff all over the place. Big elaborate thing. I don't need to do that. But yeah, and you wouldn't even have to have mason jars. The only thing you need that you might not have is the fabric. And you could cut up an old well, you could cut up an old cotton dish towel, like a bar towel, or even an old pillowcase. Just make sure you wash and bleach it so that it's not got, skin stuff on it. And a rubber band, and do the same thing. with an old peanut butter jar. I mean, there's just ways to do. It doesn't have to be all of that. But I'm going to try that. I'm going to try the microgreens. I'm going to look more into the carnivore diet. There was something else I was looking at, and I don't remember what it was now, that I wanted to try before the world ends. I hope all of you friends are, speaking of the world coming to an end. I'm not a panicky person. I try not to be. I try to be prepared, and I don't mean in the oh my gosh, buy uh, a tractor trailer full of dehydrated food and stick it away somewhere out in the woods so you can get to it when the zombies attack. But I believe in having, more than just a few days worth of groceries put up, so that in the case of an emergency, you've got having water and having, well, and dehydrated, because I do the Thrive Life thing. I need to share that stuff with you guys better. Dehydrated food, home canned food, frozen foods, all different matter, because you don't know what's going to happen. So if the power goes out, you've got the dehydrated food, you have the canned food. And you'll need a way, if you don't have a gas stove that you can light, because a lot of these newer stoves require an electric ignition of some sort. Power goes out, you can't do it. Maybe you can light the stove top, but you can't light the oven. But where you can light it once till it reaches temperature and then it cycles off. But anyway, and just being ready, having a first aid kit, having some extra water, having an alternative source of heat, because if the electric goes off, I may have, and not here, here I have a gas furnace, but it has an electric blower. So if the electric's off, it's not going to do me any good. Just having alternatives and ways to take care of yourself, because if any of you can remember, in almost every national emergency we've had, whether it's been tornadoes, whether it's been hurricanes, whether it's been, down in Texas, they had some explosions a couple times at some of these plants. Heck, we had it's been a few years ago, but we had a train derailment, and some of the chemicals that the train was hauling blew up. Of course, that didn't affect more than a small community, but here they had to evacuate. They couldn't be there, but it takes sometimes days, maybe even weeks. Flooding events. With the derecho we had no electric, may not be able to get out. People may not be able to get in. So you need to have enough stuff put back. A good place to start is a couple weeks worth of groceries that can be fixed, and you need to practice that. September is National Preparedness Month. I've not been on the bandwagon to do a bunch of preparedness videos, and there's not much month left. I may try to do one. I've got a couple books that I could probably use, but you got to have stuff. You need stuff in your car that you don't touch to get you through the winter. A little bit of sand. Doesn't have to be a 10-pound bag, but a little bit of sand in case you get stuck, that you can throw it on the ice or whatever, give some traction. Some kind of water, some kind of liquid, some snacks, in case you get stranded. We also had here during the winter, at least cold weather, a tractor trailer wrecked on the Canal Turnpike. It tied up all 4 lanes, 2 lanes north, 2 lanes south. People were stuck. They couldn't move. They were stuck, I think, over a day in some places, because it just was such a disaster, and they had to get heavy equipment in there and get the tractor trailer out, clean up, because it's been on fire and different things. It just tore the place up, and people were stuck, and they couldn't leave the turnpike. There was no emergency exits, and so they're sitting, and they have no food, they have no water. Some people diabetic and were having issues. I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios. You can't prepare for everything, but there's a lot you can. So that's something that everybody needs to take seriously, And I'm not trying to be a fear warrior, but there are things going on internationally that and nationally that can cause some hardships for us. Inflation is real, and that bill is coming due, and it's going to come out of all of our pockets one way or another. There are, the mess over in Ukraine and Russia. If Dingbat over there decides he's going to drop a nuke, strategic or otherwise, Katie, bar the door. Things are going to get bad. But we don't have to stop living our lives. We can continue if we're ready for it. And it may take longer than we think, and maybe we can only get by so long. But better to be ready than not. So there's an old story about the ant and the grasshopper. And ant's busy all the time, busy, carrying food from here and carrying it over here and walking back to get it, and walking back to the house, putting it away. And the grasshopper's sitting there, they play music, and the grasshopper's playing his music, his violin on his legs, how grasshoppers do. And after a while, he asks the ant, "What are you doing? Take a break, man. Chill, rest." And the ant says, "I'm getting ready for the winter." "Oh, the winter's a long time away." And the ant continues to go back and forth, carrying food back and forth. And then September rolls, and the dampness and the cold, and the cricket's like, "Ooh, I'm cold. And man, my cupboards are bare. I know where I'll go. I'm going to go to the ant's house. He's got all kinds of food." And so he goes to the ant's house and, "Please share some of your food with me." And, the ant's like, all summer I sweat. I worked hard to put things, and you play. And now you're going to have to live with your decision. So the ant did not share his store of food with the grasshopper. And, there's a lot of people that are goofing off now that when times really get hard and it's heading in that direction, are going to say, "Oh, I know where I'm going to go." And they're going to knock on that door, and nobody's going to answer. Nobody's going to answer. So start getting ready now. It's never too late until it's too late. But yeah, start getting ready now. And I appreciate the time that you've spent with me. And again, if you will do that down there, that side, I don't remember. But like I said, the story is that the algorithm is getting particular that you don't say that word on YouTube now, and share it, and let me know what kind of things you'd like to talk about. I spent 12 years working for state government. I run my own business since 2007. I'm running the B&B now. I take direct bookings, and I'm also on Airbnb. So I do it both ways. Home can, I cook, I clean, I do all that hacky stuff. And I just, I like to share what little wisdom I have with other people. So if you find it interesting, please share it. If you think, well, it's kind of interesting, but I don't know where she's going with all this, still click the little thingy and share it, and leave a comment and ask, "What are you talking about? Where are you going with all this?" It's fine. It's fine. I'll cut it off there because we're coming up at the hour mark. And I appreciate you being with me. And, I'll see you again. We'll do this again real soon. Thanks a lot.